Hi everyone, welcome. Miss Purry here. Had to be a part of today, didn't you? Okay guys, hello, welcome to welcome guys. Hi. Hello Brittany, Sherry, Jo Beth. Hi Sahara, welcome. Debbie, hello. Shannon, hello. Come in. Miss Sparkle Linda, welcome. Hello Shadow. Are you okay there, Shadow? Are you okay there? You're going to sit right in my way today, aren't you? Right in my way. Say hi to the camera, Shadow. Shadow. Hi. Say hi to the camera. Say hi. She says, nope, no way. I'm not saying hi today. Not going to say hi today. Oh, you just want to have a sook. Just want to have a shook. Say hello, Shadow. No. She's purring her little brains out today. Hi, Helen. Welcome. Come in. You a good girl? She says, I keep missing out on cuddles because the dog keeps scaring me away. You keep scaring the doggy, more like it. You're a big bully, aren't you? Hey? Anyway, cat hair everywhere here. Let's go back. Let's go back to where we are. Here we are. This is where we are. We're here, and Shadow's in my way. But you know, that's okay. Let's just move the camera a bit. Sorry guys, making you a bit dizzy there. See if I can... There we go. No, you shush. Hello, welcome. So new colour along this month. If you haven't grabbed the image already, I have a few links for you. So let me just grab them. First of all, the image is here. There is a folder, and inside that folder is two versions of the image, a JPEG and a PDF for those that can't do one or the other. I'm posting that up now. Hi Dusty, welcome. Welcome. So if you'd like to grab the image, this image is by the lovely Jenny Luan, who has been a wonderful support to me actually over my journey, and she's a lovely lady. And she's brought out quite a few books, and I haven't really had the time to get many done for her. And I hadn't organised anyone for October, so here we are, Halloween themed. So pretty exciting. This image is actually in one of Jenny's books as well, so if you're watching this after the fact, it's still available, and the link for that is in the description below. Yes, well Sahara, you have been travelling the world, haven't you? So, yeah. If you would like to grab the colour list, the link is in the description as well, but I'll pop it up here. It is over on my Patreon. It is a public post, so everyone can see it there. Also, if you are in my Facebook group, there is a copy of the colour list and also a swatch chart of my Pablo pencils. Yes, my Pablo pencils. So, Pablos. I have a link here for you. If you have no idea what they are pencils. Caran pencils. And they are called Pablos. I'll pop the link up there for you. Also, I'm going to be using Strathmore Mixed Media Vallum surface. This is slightly different to the one I've been using the last few days. I just received this from Amazon. I ordered it last week and I decided we're going to give this one a try today. So this one's slightly lighter than the other one I've used previously. The other one is like 300 GSM, so this is a lot lighter. It's a mixed media this time and it's still a vellum surface, so I'm going to be using that, and I've just printed it on the normal side of the paper. This book is actually pretty cool. I'm going to post a link up for it to start with. So why does it not, anyway, there it is there. So this book has got 40 sheets in it. It is 9 by 12. So if you have a printer that doesn't print larger pages, you may need to trim it. But I've just pulled them out of the book here. You can see I've already pulled a few pages out. I've actually pulled more than that out, so I must have skipped a few, but anyway. Yoo-hoo-hoo. But yeah, 40 sheets. So I'm running out of Neenah Classic Crest and I can't get it here in Australia. It's really hard to get. I want to get it in a ream and not as individual packs. Like the scrapbook stores here sell it in 50 packs, but I actually want a ream of it so I know the whole ream is the same type of paper, because I've had previous experiences where it hasn't been the same paper. So I thought let's try something different and see if I can find something else that will go with everything. So there's a few links there for you with what I'll be using today. Hi May, welcome. Hello. Hello. Oh, is it Linda? I don't know. It's really annoying because I really like the paper, so it's a bit disappointing, isn't it? Now, I've decided to start on the sky and work our way down. So, since we have no skin, I figured we would start from the top and work down. So, I think I've only done a few colour alongs, 4-week ones, where we haven't done an actual person. I know we've done a dragon one, which was also Pablos and markers, funnily enough, but yeah, we're going to use Pablos today. So I have done also a conversion chart in that link, the Patreon link. There's a conversion colour list there, so if you don't have Pablos, I've done them to Prismacolor, Polychromos, Black Widows, Holbeins and Shapir Farben. So if you have one of those, you can swap it to one of those. The colours won't be exact, but they're similar. Oh, Sahara. I'm actually quite liking the Strathmore. I seem to be able to get it a little bit more readily, and I just got stuff on my page then. What a pain. When I put those pencils down. Anyhow. So yeah, it's great to have a paper that I can get. Even though it's from the US, I seem to be able to get it a lot easier through, I got this one through Amazon, so yeah, much easier. Much easier. No worries, Sherry. Hi, Holly, welcome. Yeah, Sahara was buying it from a couple of craft stores, but they won't sell it as a ream, and I want the whole ream. I don't want a pack of 50, so bit frustrating, but that's okay. And the place I ordered from originally don't have it anymore either. So guys, can you hear me okay? Am I loud and clear? Just making sure. Good. So I have, the lovely Jenny has given us one PDF colouring page to give away today. And she's giving away her breast cancer awareness page because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So this is the colouring page and what it looks like. Wait, it's loading. There it is. So we're going to do a giveaway for that colouring page halfway through today. Very good. Perfect. I'm glad you can hear me. So thank you so much, Jenny, for that. Got my little dust glove. Now I'm going to be using Pablo's. So I've got purplish red, carmine, royal blue, Prussian blue, and black. You could use ivory black too. It doesn't really matter which black. Black is black as black. I've also got two Posca pens. I've got a large size one, which is a 1.8 to 2.5 mil bullet shaped nib. And I have my white 0.7 mil nib. I also have a Luminance pencil today. Caran full blender, which is in my, what is this called again? Pencil extender. Hi Lulu, welcome. I've got a Uni-Ball pen, which I probably won't use. I'll probably use the smaller Jelly Roll pen. So that's what I'm going to be using today. And we're going to create a little bit of a night sky. I've got marker on my finger there. I thought it was a splinter to start with. Anyway, so we've got plenty of products. Now, I forgot to list this, but you don't have to have it. I'm going to be using a little bit of this masking fluid. Just take that price off there. My lovely daughter lent me her one because my schminky or schminker one dried up in the tube and yeah, we couldn't get any out. So we actually cut the tube open and it was completely dry right through. So it was a bit of a bummer. But this is masking fluid. This is actually a cheaper brand one. It is liquid latex and you place it down on areas that you don't want your... Usually it's used with watercolor and things like that. But we're going to use it with pencil today just so you can see what it does. So I'm going to use, I've put some in a little squeezy bottle to make it easier to handle, and it saves my brushes because brushes die with these. Oop. I'm just going to spread a little bit over the moon. I don't want to get any colour in the moon, and I know we're going to do some smudging, so I'm just going to protect it. You don't have to do it. I wanted to do it because I want this moon to be nice and bright. I'm going right out to the very edge. There, just like that. Pretty cool. Hi Mia, welcome. Now I printed my image. I kind of cut off a border around it so that I could make it bigger for you guys, and I also printed it slightly lighter than the completely black page. I do that in other people have asked me how I do that. To make it really light like this, there's a option in Word, Microsoft Word, and it actually allows you to change the color of the picture, which I actually do to gray. So, and then I save it as an image file and I print it. I can't print from Word. It prints out with lines through it. It's really stupid. I don't know why. So I have to turn it into an actual image before I can print it. Otherwise it comes out with lines and things in it. It's weird. I don't know. This liquid, it's called masking fluid. Hi Michelle, welcome. Masking fluid can be used on like watercolor pictures and places where you don't want your medium to cover. And then it's like a rubber. So it's liquid latex. So when it dries, it becomes like latex. It's kind of stretchy, and I'm just going to peel it off when I've finished. So it's called liquid latex. And then when I finish, I'll peel it off and I'll go in and colour my moon separately. Now, if you don't have a blender of sorts, I'm using it mainly to stop the smudging. When you go over with the blender, it actually lays a coat of the wax over the top, and it helps stop smudging. So because we're going to be doing black through here, we want to make sure that we don't smudge it too much in everything else. So yeah. Now what was that? Oh, your picture, that's right. What printer are you using? I found I had trouble with my laser. The ink would actually peel off and go into my image. When I use the inkjet, this has been printed for a day or so though, so it's completely dry now. Sometimes when they're not completely dry, you could heat set it. Try heat setting it. So I heat set mine by running it through my laser printer because they're heat rollers, and I print basically a blank page, and it just runs the page through and heat sets the ink in. You could use a hairdryer or a heat gun or something like that. Just be careful not to burn your paper, of course. But sometimes heat setting the ink can help. I hope that helps. Hi Sierra, welcome. I hope that's how you say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone that's come in. If I've missed anyone, hello and welcome. Oh, thank you. Okay. I'm just waiting for this to dry a little bit. Hi Sue, welcome. Oh, just moving my footstool here a little bit. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So we're going to do a couple of streaks of colour through our image in the sky. I didn't want it to be just black. I wanted it to have some light to it, and also to be able to see some sort of galaxy kind of colours through there, I guess, as well. Also, I didn't want the lines in the background. So I thought this is a good way to show you how to cover areas up that you don't actually want as well. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the lines as a little bit of a guide though for my highlights. So where this section here is coming off, I'm going to try to add a little bit more light through here. So we're going to go with more blues, and through the darker sections in here we'll go with more black. So we're going to mix it up a little bit. What does DD do? I miss that. Inkjet, is that it? I didn't hear. I didn't see. I can't hear, but a moment. Let's do some purplish red. I'm going to do a fair bit of pressure. This paper is actually pretty awesome. I've already had to play with it and made sure that I could do what I wanted to do on it. So I'm doing a dark patch in the middle and just lightening it up on the outside first. And I'm just going to do a couple of those around the page. I'm going to do a few close to the moon here. One down here. So if you guys coloured anything of Jenny Luan's before, I've done a few of hers and I've done a couple of events for her. She's got some cute little CHIBI, is that how you pronounce it? CHIBI characters, CHIBI? And anime characters, so let's do a little bit over here, a little bit down here, and I think we might leave it there. I think we'll use some more of the carmine this time. Hi Rochelle, welcome. Welcome. Doing the same thing, I'm just going to do a few patches around here. Just being a bit rough, you know. I think we'll put a tiny bit down here. Some in there. I think we're good. Not looking so great at the moment, is it? That's okay. It'll get there. It will get there. Sure. Can you see? This is still a little bit tacky, so it's not dry yet. So I just have to be careful before coming over that area. I'm going to use the Prussian blue next. I'm just going to move my camera a little bit so I haven't got my page quite so close to me. Otherwise it's hard to colour when it's right up against you. I've got the Prussian blue and I'm just going to go in and put a layer along this line here. So I'm going in dark on the line and I'm just lightening it up as I come over it. I just broke the tip of my pencil. We had like a summer day here yesterday. It was crazy, crazy hot. Whoever's in Australia can probably vouch for that. Hi Kathy, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Ah, Jenny, welcome, sweetheart. Thanks for joining us. There she is. Wonderful Jenny Luan. Welcome, we love having you. I gotta make sure I spread this sky out for the whole session, otherwise we'll be finished too early. Don't want to finish too early, do we? We want to enjoy this process and make sure everybody gets the gets it down. Gives everybody time to catch up and enjoy the process. Just going over the whole area in here now with that blue, but really light pressure to start with. I saw your picture, Sahara. So cute. So cute. Oh, Sue, I'm so sorry to hear. I did my trigger finger again early this week. Tuesday I woke up and this finger here, it gets stuck like that and I can't open it and it really hurts. It started to settle down now, so I'm getting feeling back again. It's a very weird sensation not being able to open your fingers. I'm just being very careful around the pumpkin stalk there, or vine actually. That's the stalk, that's a part of the vine. Just being careful of that. Oh, we had pumpkins in our yard last year and they took over the entire garden. We had to get rid of them and we had so many pumpkins it wasn't funny. There's only so much pumpkin soup, pumpkin scones, pumpkin pies, pumpkin stuff that you can have anyway. So I'm trying to cover up these lines. Best I can, and trying not to go over the kitty and his ears and things. We want to try and keep them clear as well. Oh yes, Watch them grow up. That would be cool. Which technique now are we talking about? I got a couple of new patrons this month, so welcome to Dawn and Stacey. I think it was Stacey. Yeah, it was Miss Stacey. Brilliant. Brilliant. So we're here. We're in the month of October. I cannot believe my kids have been on this because it's spring here. They've been on their spring holidays. They go back on Monday. It just flies. Time just flies. Our Miss Nani was sick last night, so we or early this morning. So we've had her up early. Poor little thing. She must have eaten something yesterday that didn't agree with her. It's so hard with puppies. They pick everything up. It's really hard to, you know, we watch her and she'll just walk along and just pop her head down, pick something up and run away with it. We're like, what was that? Cheeky rat. Oh, hello. You couldn't hear us? I was saying hello. You weren't hearing us, but we were saying hello. Welcome. Oh, I was going to do a flip through and I completely forgot to organise it. I'm a bit silly, aren't I? We can do a fake flip through. We can do that. Jenny has some new books out and also a couple of new packs in her Etsy shop, so make sure you pop over and check those out. I'll pop the links up for those as well, and they're also in the description too. Bye Lulu, sweetie. So make sure you check that out as well. Here we go. Etsy. And oh, if you're not in her Facebook group, she has a Facebook group. They've got a little event going on in there at the moment. I think it's Halloween themed colours. What else have we got there? Don't forget to check out Instagram. That's an easy one. Instagram's easy to follow people. You just say, yep, I like that, and off you go. And make sure you, if you want the image, it is in the folder here, and it's only available till the end of October 2019. It's so weird saying that. Oh, this year's just flown. It has flown. I'm just going to wear my glove because at this stage the pencil's kind of smudgy because we've just done a light layer over the top of the tooth. The rest of the pencil is dust, so it will smudge easily. So if I'm going to be turning my page and leaning on it, I don't want to smudge it with my hand because I'll be adding oil to it and it won't come off. These dust gloves are so easy to make. I just brought a pair of white gardening cotton gloves from my supermarket and just cut off that part of the glove. You can sew it if you wanted to. I haven't sewn mine and they still work fine. The black one I like wearing though, because the black one doesn't show how dirty it is. It's handy. Hi Kenny, welcome. Hey, I played with my watercolors. They're absolutely awesome. I'm gonna have a look for the second pack because they're awesome. Who wants to see what I did? Sorry Jenny, I'm just gonna I got the new Whimsical Wild book from Jane Davenport this week. It came after our live stream on Monday actually. Convenient. But I was kind of playing with some of the colours in the palette, Kenny. Look at them. They're so pretty. And I also finished one of my little ladies with it too. This one. I had a bit of fun. I don't know what that is on there. Looks like a bit of paint's been dripped on there, but so yeah, that was with the Inktense block, the travel palette, the first one. Oh, they do? Amazon UK, and do they send to Australia? Michelle, the colours I'm using today in the Pablos, I'm using purplish red, carmine, Prussian blue, royal blue, and black. I'm using Prussian blue at the moment. I know, I've been having fun playing with them. I just wanted to test a few. I did a tester page in my little art journal thing as well. But yeah, they're so pretty. Beautiful colours. In fact, I think I want the whole set of them. Inktense have always been one of my favourites, though the colours are absolutely beautiful and vibrant. Just coming down the side of this pumpkin. And over this side. Just doing light pressure to start with. Just, what do we call it? Marking things in to start with. And then we can come back in with more pressure later. Yeah. Jenny, I know. Oh, they do, Helen? Man, that was silly. We should have sent one over when we did the order. Yeah. This is actually handy. It came with my daughter. This one came with a packet of gel pens she brought. It came free with them. And my other daughter, she's got one for her digital drawing for her tablet. But yeah, they go missing, and because they're black, they can sort of squish down the side of the couch and disappear forever. My daughter lost hers. She was borrowing this one for a little while, and I found it down the side of the couch. I'm like, here it is. We got it. Yeah, I'm going to stop about here and make this part of the, I don't know, hills in the background or something. So we'll just stop the sky there. I'll zoom back in again if you would like to. I'll do a flip through of the Whimsical Wild book on Monday probably. It's pretty cute. It's very similar to her other art journal one. I don't think I'll deconstruct this one though. I think I'll leave this one as a book. Ah, I went over his ear. Where's my mono eraser? I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the colour of the cat yet, so I don't want to compromise it too much. Now let's use black. Black. Thimble things. Yeah, mine is swimming too. Look at my, this is my little finger, and can you see that? Look at that. It's huge. And this one's even big too, actually. It's not as big, but I have a baby size middle finger and nothing ever fits me in gloves. Look at that. I just trim the whole top off there. Doesn't matter, it still does its trick. I'm going to do the same thing with the black now. Starting lightly, going heavier over those lines and lighter as we come out. I've always had baby little fingers. People are always in awe of them. They're like, oh my god, how does that even happen? That's why I can't play the guitar, I tell you. My little finger doesn't reach around the guitar. It's frustrating because I really wanted to learn. It ain't happening. It's just physically not possible. I could probably play the ukulele better because that's smaller. Oh, I accidentally went in this area. This was supposed to be black, but that's okay because we're going to be putting all these colours through all of the areas, so... It doesn't alter matter. I just need to cut it off, don't I? So I think my moon's almost dry. It's still a little bit tacky. I can still feel the wet area. But I could come close to that now, and I don't think we're going to smudge that at all, because the edges are all nice and dry. And I'm just trying to miss this. I probably should have covered the stalk, the stem thing with the with the latex as well. Stop that from getting dirty. I wonder if it's thin enough or if it will just go everywhere. No, it's gonna go everywhere. I need like a small thin line. Oh, definitely handy being in this little bottle. I'm just trying to do that with a paintbrush, because I already have a paintbrush here from where I've used my other liquid. It's very messy. Let's just cover up our stalk there. Look, you know what? It's going to work, I think. I think it's going to work. Where's my lead? Where's my lead? Alright, I think that's going to work, but I'm going to need to let that dry now, so I'm just going to leave that spot there. I'm going to turn it upside down so I can get to the rest of this. Just going in firmly around that line because I want that line to disappear. Basically, we want to blend it all in. Just being careful around my little moon. Just being careful. Oh, I've got a bump there. What was that? I keep forgetting this paper is actually thinner than all the other paper I use, so it does pick up some of the bumps underneath as well. Just have to be a little bit more careful with what's on the desk. I've got a piece of card under here with some butcher paper over the top of it. Got a massive roll of it that we found out in my garage, so why not use it? Saves it sitting there. I have no idea where it came from. It's probably 1,000 years old. Hi Elaine, welcome. I have to take my new computer in, I think. I'm having trouble with the graphics card. I think it's dodgy. Computer screens keep glitching out on me. Means I have to delete everything though. Like, it's so frustrating when you've got to get your computer done. Like, I don't want them to have any of my details, so I've got to uninstall stuff and log out of things, and it's frustrating. Oh, it's looking like a bit of a mess now, isn't it? Look at it. It looks terrible. No, it doesn't. It's a caterpillar before the butterfly. The ugly duckling before the swan. Alright. We have... Hi Cheryl, welcome. Now this is the royal blue, and now I'm just going to come over and I'm going to place this around areas within those two colour zones, I guess we're calling them. Let's just call them that. Just mixing a bit of this lighter blue, or brighter blue, not lighter, it's brighter, through into the background. And I'm putting down a little bit of pressure. I want to start to flatten out this tooth and make this nice and smooth now. I'm really doing this too quickly, aren't I? We're going to be finished before the time. Just coming in and around some of these areas here. These parts here are good to have this colour in because they're going to be a little bit lighter so we can see the pink and the red. like to make sure I cover in some of those areas. Covering in some more over the lines. Just being careful around these items, the pumpkin and the leaves. Our little stem thing here, our vine. It's been covered over with the masking fluid now, so that's alright. It's going to deal well. Just doing some random areas out over the image. Adding some of this in. All right. Oh, I love them, Kenny. I would use them more if people knew what they were. Got Prussian blue again, or Prussian, and I'm going to start to fill in some of these blue areas, just a little bit here and there. I want to try and make these bluer sections a little bit lighter, but we're still going to put black through here as well. Just a little bit through the black section as well. Across the top there. Doing a little bit of this close to the moon too, so we can get a little bit of light through there. But really we're just mixing it up, doing a bit of everything everywhere. Just watch that cat there. Cheeky one. Just keep an eye on him. You gotta keep an eye on these cats. They're troublemakers, I tell you. And you can look, just look at him. He's got that look in his eyes. He's gonna be cheeky and he's gonna make Halloween spooky. What? What kind of pencils were they, Sahara? They're not like the Gucci pencils or whatever they are. I've seen some guy did a review on them. It was funny. Oh. Wow. That seems like a lot of money. I'm going back to black. And I'm going to fill in some of these spaces now. You can still see the colour underneath the black too, so if you're going over some of that blue, it doesn't matter. You'll be able to see some of that through there anyway. I was hoping to create a little bit of a no line image, is why grey is good as well. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Zach, yeah, that's right. That's good, eh? Was it Gucci? I thought it was Gucci, something like that anyway. It was ridiculous, just ridiculous. I was like, okay. Sorry, but I wouldn't have paid that much for them. You wouldn't want to use them. They'd just be to look at. It'd just be to say, I have a set of those. Oh dear. It's funny. Oh, Louis Vuitton. That's right. You're right. You're right. It was Louis Vuitton. It was a funny video. They've all got to do their thing, I guess. Holbeins are, I think, a little bit overrated. I don't mind them. They're just really pastel-y colours, so you get really light images. You need some like contrast in your images, and it's hard to get contrast when you've got all these light colours. I'm just going to go in with these sections that I've done here. I'm just going to go back in with the purplish red. This one is. Just deepen that up a little bit so we can still see it. And just up here. So you can see we're starting to gradually build in the colour. I've got royal blue again, and I'm just going to add a little bit more in there. Trying to fill the tooth out a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten the tooth off with my full blender. There's a link for this in the description too. It's under my favourite product links. So just covering over the tooth, and also it's laying down a layer of wax so that we don't get any smudging. So this is where I haven't done, we're getting that, and where I have done, we're not getting anything. It's shiny. Shiny. You can also go back over the full blender. You don't have to worry about that being it either. Oh look, I've got smudging again. It's really annoying me. Let me just get rid of some of that. This is a Bing Bag kind of eraser I was talking about last week. It's full of eraser inside, like little pieces of eraser, and you can just use it to erase out a large area. It's pretty cool. And drafters use them for drafting. Just going to make sure I clean off my desk though, because it is pretty cool actually. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's right, Kenny. It's great. I found it great for the pan pastels when doing pan pastels, and it gets everywhere. Alright, so this one up here is the Carmine. Oh. Black again. My pencil's getting really blunt, and it's making it awkward to flatten the tooth out, so I'm just going to sharpen it a little bit. So they must be the original blend of Prismacolors then, so they'll be nice to use before they changed their what is it called? What am I trying to say, guys? Come on, spit it out. Before they changed where they get them made. I think they were originally made in... Where were they originally made? Were they originally made in Mexico and now they're being... Or are they being made in Mexico now and they were originally made in the US? I don't know. But I know it changed, and that the quality of the pencils has changed a lot over the years. Yeah, in the US. That's right. I thought it was that way. Just using my full blender to flatten out the tooth. Just to help me with the smudging a little bit there. And gradually filling it in. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit because we're so close. It looks kind of strange, but there we go. Without the light reflecting on it, we can see some blue areas, some red and some pinks coming through here now. I'm just going to gradually build up until we're finished covering over everything again. I've just got some Prussian blue again. Adding a little bit in here. And then we can add some black in between. Wow, that, Linda, that's huge. So funny how the prices of things go up dramatically when they become popular. Just making sure I'm careful going around all of these little spots on here. And I think it's time we do a giveaway, hey? I think so. I can always tell when it's getting time to do a giveaway because I start to need to go to the bathroom, so it must be break time. Trained my bladder well. I'm shocking. Since I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and quite a while ago, but my bladder, I have terrible time with my bladder. Just painful holding. TMI? TMI. Just sharpening up the leaves, proper English, the leaves. So Jenny's giving away the one copy of the breast cancer awareness page to the winner today. And next week I'm pretty sure we're doing a different prize, is that correct? I think we're going to change and swap them around. She's going to let me know what next week's prize will be. Something interesting. Coming back in, I think that's a little bit of the carmine, so I've just gone in with that, and I'm going to come back over with a bit of black because that's quite rich. Just don't want it quite that bright. Dull it off a little bit. So we're looking good. Dusty. We're all human. Yeah, you know. Oh my goodness. Alright, so I'm giving away, or Jenny's giving away a copy of this. So a PDF version of this, uncoloured of course. This is Jenny's version. So let's do the giveaway rules. The winner would need to email me their details. So, well, once you email me, I already have your details. So, but and then I can give that information over to Jenny, who will send it off to you. So let's do the giveaway rules so that everybody knows where we're at, and then we'll come back and do that. All right. So guys, we've gone through all the rules. Not yet, Gail. Make sure you are on live chat. I just noticed you guys talking about top chat party there. Make sure you are on live chat because you won't be able to see the live numbers as they're being drawn, and you won't be able to see me write the words go 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 or stop stop stop. So there you go. Any giveaway or promotion is in no way sponsored or endorsed by YouTube or Jenny Luan. I think we're done. So only one number per person, and it's between 1 and 100. We're doing this giveaway for an image by Jenny Luan, and I will need you to email me if you do win so that I can get that to you. I know it's weird when you close or refresh, it goes back to top chat. It's weird. Excuse me. So I'm going to give us a minute and a bit. A minute and a bit. Is everybody ready? Hi Victoria, welcome. Everybody ready? Let me know when you're ready, because I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, that's a bit of black behind there. It's a pumpkin. There we go. Yay, thank you, peoples. Let's do this. Go and go and go. Start. There is a big delay, so there'll be like a gap of silence most likely, and everyone will be like, what's going on? Nothing, it's just YouTube catching up. He's gonna look so cool. I've done a couple of different galaxy backgrounds, so I try to do something different every time. I have done so many colour alongs now though, that we probably have covered everything at least twice, just with different mediums. A bit of that purplish red. Actually, that could have been carmine, so we might mix that one. Carmine and purplish red. Just one number, Gail. The first number that you wrote will be your pick. So it will be the number closest to the winning number without going over it. So we're going to go to random.org and .org. Here we go. And down here is between 1 and 100, so only one number. The first number that you wrote down will be the number that you get. And the winning number closest to it, without going over this number that I draw now, will win. We've never had number 100 before, but let's have a look. Who got closest? Sorry, I love it when things like that happen. It's cool. We had a 95. 95. Yes, Helen. Basically, when I draw the number 100, the closest number to 100 wins. So the person with the highest number, which is Helen. Helen! Helen! Awesome. So Helen, I think I already have your details. So yeah. Congratulations. It's looking cool. I'm going to, what have I got here? This will do. I'm just going to lean something under here because it's getting some of the texture from my page. So I've just popped a softer book behind while I use the colourless blender or the full blender and just flatten this tooth out and put a layer of wax over to stop that from smudging. Now what I should have left is blank paper when I finished where the vine is. So should we test it? We'll test it in a minute. I can probably test it down here. Just making sure. Alright, my fingers are really slippery because I just washed my hands, so it wasn't gripping the latex very well then. There we go. There's still a little bit in here which I'll, as I said, I've got slippery fingers, so I'm not gripping it very well there. Anyway, that will do. It looks good so far. We can go back in and just really line out the outside now. Make sure it's nice and neat. Also, you could spray it with some fixative before you pulled it off as well, if you wanted to. But look at that. I wish I could get this bit off here, but I'm having trouble with my finger getting that off. That's alright, the pencil will rub it off anyway. Alrighty. What's higgledy piggledy? Higgledy piggledy. I haven't heard that since I was a kid. So guys, if you're looking for the image, again, let me pop it up here so you can find it. Please do not share it uncolored anywhere else. And you can definitely share it colored in other groups. The products I'm using today are Pablo's pencils, and the Strathmore paper is Strathmore Mixed Media Vellum Surface. And I'm just popping these links up for you now in case you're interested. Also, all the information is in the description, so if you're watching later, it will all be there as well. Make sure you check out all of Jenny's links as well in there. I have added her Etsy page, her Facebook group, Instagram, and her website, so make sure you check those out as well. Okay, now let's get back to it, shall we? Shall we? Oh, let's do a flip of something. Do you want to see some of Jenny's work? We can do a manual flip. We can. possibly, actually. I probably should have thought of that before. Perhaps we'll do some flips next week. A flip? Let me see if I can organize one before we finish. Look at that. There won't be any music, but I might be able to get something. Let's see. What have we got here? Which book has Jenny done first? What's the most recent one? Is it the anime? Hang on, let me just find it. Having a moment. Just let me have my moment, okay? Here we go. Jenny, what have I got? CHIBI. Hang on, wait. Got a few books here, Jenny, and I've got a few of them. Sorry. Was it Anime Doodle Girls Volume 4? I think that's the newest one. Yeah, I think I got that right. Okay. Let's do this one. Got to give me a minute to get it set up. Here we go. Looking good. And do you want some music? Do you want some like nice soft music or rap music? I'm not sure. Any ideas? Let me see what I can find. Oh, I like this one. Alright, now let me just see if I can get it all done. Any music is good. Okay. Oh, that was my chair. Squeaky chair. Alrighty, let's see how long that takes. I'll colour in for a little bit and I'll let you know how long that's taking. Oh, I think it'll be pretty quick. Cool. Alright, we'll just keep colouring. And when it's up, it's up. Bye, May. Thank you so much for coming. I can't believe you're still awake. Hardcore. No, I think this one's like nice. I think it's a Christian song actually. I'm not sure. It's okay. Whatever we do, come out good. Always does. I'm using the purplish red to just colour over those sections again. And I think that might be the other one. And the carmine in these sections. And back to black. Back to black. It's almost finished. It's halfway through. And then we'll just upload it into my program and we can watch it. So all my music comes from Artlist. I have a license there. It's pretty awesome actually. You pay a yearly subscription fee and you have access to their whole library of songs. And the library, the songs that you download, you have lifetime access to. So the ones that you use, the license covers those for the lifetime use. So that's pretty cool. And the link for Artlist is in my description as well. And the song that I picked is called Standing, and it's by a band called C3NC. So yeah, and it's almost finished. It's almost ready. Oh gosh, I like cycling, but I always get a sore butt, especially from spin class. I used to do spin class and not sit down because I can't stand it. I love riding. Bikes is one of my things. Especially in summertime. Which it felt like it was yesterday again. Already, it's still only spring. Zumba's awesome. We used to do Zumba. When I broke my ankle, it made it incredibly hard to go back. I had a lot of trouble with it after that, and then I had a hysterectomy and just never got back to it. And the guy who was teaching it at the time, I just used a mono eraser just to clean out the rest of that glue. Guess what? It's finished. Let's see if we can upload it. Well, hello. The postie just beeped. Alright. Let's see. Jenny, Luan, flip. Here we go. Alright. Shall we look at it? Let's look at it. Here we go. So, there we have it. That was pretty cool, huh? But you didn't know I could do that so quick. Neither did I. How cute was that? That was Jenny's newest book. It is available on our Etsy store. I'm going to use it a little bit, Sahara, because I can't get Neenah at the moment. I'll keep looking for Neenah, but in fact, I did use these colours. I did do a bit of a practice on some Neenah, and the colours don't come out as good. So, I don't know. Especially with these pencils, this brand of pencil, and I was just doing a bit of a tester on this paper to see how markers went, and it seems to look okay. So I'm going to give some markers a go as well on this paper and see. So magically, here's one I prepared earlier. No, while you were watching, you'll flip through. I finished this one off, and just using the black, I did that. Just putting some wax over the top of some of that. Now, I've got a couple of different types of products here we're going to use. First of all, we have our big, juicy, fat looking Posca pen. I take that book away now. Except the one. Well, this one, I got it on Amazon. I had a voucher, so I got it on Amazon. I think it was like $22 for it. It possibly could have been American dollars. At the moment, our Australian dollar is really low, so yeah. And I also picked up another packet of the extra large watercolor paper as well, because I use that a lot too. I have some Posca. Let's play some games with this one. I'm going to use my finger to spread this out. I want to make the lightest sections have a bit of fog, or yeah, fog. So the moon is glowing off the cloud or fog that's in the sky. That's all I'm going to do. Just like that. Smudge it with my finger. Because it's smooth, it should just slide right across. Just like that. Put a little bit over this side. If you've got any imperfections in your pencil, that's all going to be covered over now. You won't be able to see that because we've got these nice little flecks of light through the sky. Just like that. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Let's do one that's coming out from here. One coming out that way. Oh, I think we need a little bit down here. Coming out that way. Down here. And a little bit here and a little bit there. And we're right to go. Oh, I missed a bit. Goodness me. So we've got here the cat, the pumpkin ends here behind him, and his tail ends here. So this is sky. So let's just fill that in. A little bit of the royal blue, tiny little bit of the carmine. Let's add a little bit of the purplish red, some indigo, no, Prussian blue, indigo blue. Where'd that come from? And then black. Can't believe I missed a bit of sky. That was pretty easy though, to do that little spot of sky, and we just did the same thing at the top but in a larger version. And let's add a tiny little bit of a thing. What can you do on there? It's just not looking quite right there. There we go. Okay, Kenny, thank you so much for joining. And I have nearly finished anyway. We're just going to put some stars in and finish off this moon. I'm going to use the thinner one and do a couple of thinner strokes. My page is sort of wrinkling over there. Okay, now using the big one, I'm going to put a few big stars in. Just a couple of nice big shiny stars. And we're going to shrink down. So, hi Shara, welcome. So we're going down to the smaller one now, and I'm just going to put some dots just randomly over this pretty image. The faster you go, the better, because then you don't have any patterns going on. They just become more random. Trying to keep them as dots as much as I can. When you're doing it quickly though, they can spread into a line rather than a dot. How cool is it looking so far? Paint pens are awesome on top of pencil. They show up a lot brighter than gel pens usually. Okay. Letting that dry for a seckie. We have our little, I've got two different sizes in this. I don't know if I've got two here though, hang on. Oh, here we go. I've got an 8, which is a 0.5 nib, and I've got a 5, which is 0.3 nib. Let's do, providing it works, some more smaller stars in between. Couple of those ended up being lines and not spots, and then going to the smaller one, which is the 0.3 nib, and doing a few more. Just get it going first. It's having a hard time starting. It's Monday, it's Friday morning. You were already on holidays. Scratched off some of my Postal pen then. Sparkling stars. And we want them to sparkle, don't we? So let's make a couple of these sparkle. So on some of the bigger ones, let's try this one. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'm probably out of the light a little bit too there, but it's hard. Here we go. Let's do it on an angle here. There's shining light there. So we do a cross first. And then I do another cross in the opposite but smaller. And you can do it again too if you want. You can do a couple of little one star. This time I'm going to do it on a smaller one. Okay. I'm going to pick a couple of stars around to do that with. That one got smudged. Just do one of these little ones. So on the smaller ones, the little cross is obviously going to be smaller as well because they're further away. Where else do I need one? I need a big one here somewhere. I have trouble doing this with the Uni-Ball pen. The lines aren't very thin, and because they're a little bit thicker, it doesn't sort of come out as nice looking. But that's it. That's all we've got to do. I think I probably got a little bit too much of the Posca pen, but that's alright. I get carried away sometimes with the white. I'm just going to scratch a couple of bits off so it's not quite so prominent in some of those areas. I like that one. Nice. Nice and nice. Some Aussie slang. Nice. Alright. I think I'm happier with that now. Maybe this one here. A little bit thicker. And it could be thinner. Pretty cool, huh? And then when we come along and we do the cat and the pumpkin, we're going to put a bit of a highlight on the very tops of them so that they stay highlighted and nice and bright where the moon's coming over the top of them as well. And I think we might put a bit of a glow inside his face too, maybe some green or yellow or something. It'll give him some glowing eyes. But yeah, I think we're done. I think it's good. I'm looking forward to seeing this one finish, that's for sure. He's going to look cool. Now, let's do this moon. Okay, I'm going to just roll off that latex. If you try to pull it off, it might rip the paper I'm using the eraser as well because my hands are too slippery and I can't seem to pull it up with my hands, so just erasing it. That bit's still stuck. So my moon is still nice and white. Just going to smudge some of that black onto this side so that we've got a little bit of a dark side. The dark side of the moon. And using my Luminance, I'm going to go around the outside of the moon and just smudge all of that colour in so it looks a bit like a halo around the outside. We shouldn't be able to see the outline of the moon now because we've covered it over with the black pencil. And then we're going to fill in the moon. And I'm hoping that that smudged area that I smudged in there a second ago will look like the darker side. Oh, some divots and things in there. And it does. If you want your moon to glow a little bit wider, you can do that too. That is my moon. My friends, my moon. Bit of a strange shaped moon. Just fixing up the shape a little bit there. That's a bit better. And now I've finished. I just used Pablo's. And hello, Pat. Welcome. I used carmine, purplish red, black, royal blue, and Prussian blue. I also used Posca fat, Posca skinny. It's not very politically correct, is it? Gel pen skinny and gel pen fat. Luminance pencil, and I also use a little bit of the full blender as well. We had fun, and I used some liquid latex to cover up. This one is what I used, but there's loads of different brands. I covered up the stalk or the stem bit here, and I covered up the moon until I was ready to color it. So when we come back next week, we'll start doing all these bits that are sticking out through the sky, and we'll gradually move down to the bottom. I think it might be better just to move down. We'll see how I go. But came up really pretty. Really pretty. And once we put all of this into perspective with the rest of the image, it's going to go really well, but I really like it. I think we did good. And just adding a couple more spots in there. I think it looked a little strange around his tail. But we're good. We'd finished early. We did. Just a little bit. We managed to get a flip through, which was extremely rushed in putting together. But it's come up beautiful. Also, you can buy that one. I've got all of the links in the description as well, including the products that I used today. So make sure you check that out. Check it out. Check it out. Now, I've got a Vivid Publishers book, August Reverie 3. I've got that ready to go, possibly for tomorrow morning as a speed colouring and a flip through. And for patrons. For patrons. I have something special too. Done. Thank you so very much, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Jenny, for hanging around. And thank you so very much for your beautiful image. Make sure you guys grab it before the end of the month. And I'm going to be back on Monday colouring something. Who knows what? It'll be creepy, whatever it is. It will be creepy. So on Monday I coloured an image from the World of Warcraft book, which I finished. This is the finished product here. She came up awesome. Awesome. And this one is coming out for patrons as a Patreon only video. Possibly tomorrow, so look forward to that one. And this one here is from Vivid Publishers, so The Strangler, that one's coming out tomorrow, so you'll check that out then as well. Some creepy ones for Halloween. Alright guys, thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! Good day, good night, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I realise what that comes from too. It's off the Truman Show. It is. See you guys. See you next week for the rest of this image too. Thank you so much, Jenny, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye everyone.